Hi, welcome back to the Spirit Lounge. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's great here today. It's a little bit, looking out the window, it's a little bit nippy, but it's still sun shining as it always does. So today's subject is answering the question, does God intervene? And if not, why not? It's a follow-on from the video I published giving my perception of what source is. God is the I am, the all that is, the all that we are. So it's a follow-on to that, and I wanted to kind of put them out in that order because it kind of made sense to me. So the answer to the question, does God intervene? And if not, why not? Is no, God does not, and source does not intervene. This all kind of goes against those that believe in a second coming and the salvation of humanity through something external, and I'll kind of explain that as sensitively as I can. But I need to be brutally honest on these videos to my perception of this, because we do need to shift our perceptions as to what ails humanity and what the solution really is to those ills that we are experiencing. So let's firstly go down where we are, why we are where we are today. So what happens to us in humanity? We see love, war, greed, generosity. We see duality. We see many things that we experience love and joy and the beautiful things that humans can do for each other. And then we also look around us, and on the TV constantly we're barraged with the negativity, the brutal dualities of human life that we don't want to see. We see it around us all the time, and it continues, it persists, or seemingly it seems to never go away. It seems to constantly get worse. We seem to be living in this brutal duality, and we seem to be moving towards negativism and separation and disunity, with love being relegated to the recesses of our experiences on a daily basis. At least that's what it seems. And in some cases that is true. In some people's lives that is the brutal truth that they experience every day, unfortunately. But why is this? Why do we constantly experience this? It's because, unfortunately, we've done a couple of things. And one, which we've touched on in many of our videos, is mind. Humanity has been directed towards the mind. It looks to the mind as being the governor of our analysis of life, analysis of anything and everything that can be. All possibility, our lives, us, what we are, the universe itself, our place within it. Now we measure everything. Everything has to be measured, segmented, categorized, compartmentalized. That's how the mind looks at things logically. It's a logical organ. It thinks about things, and we perceive things logically, and it processes through our five senses. But through our mental programming, through the mind, we are constantly programmed. Minute by minute, second by second, hour by hour, day by day. The mind is under constant, I would say, manipulation, or it's constantly targeted by the world experience that we have today, to perceive things in a certain way. And as a result, the mind is what guides our thoughts, actions, words, thoughts, and intents. The awakening, for example, the awakening movement, we've all heard about the awakening movement. We watch, there's many videos on different aspects of the awakening movement, economic, social, political, name it. It's all out there, exposing some of the brutal realities of how the human experience truly works, and they all have validity in their own right, and some of them don't. It's up to our own discernment, I guess, as we move forward, to which ones we embrace, which ones we don't, we completely dismiss, and which ones we put to the side for now. But that's just a mental awakening. The awakening we have today is a mental awakening. But that's all it is. It doesn't move on to what will truly change things. Knowing about something is one thing. It's how do you then change the dualities, understand your place in the universe, understand what you truly are, understand how the past, present and futures are created. And that journey is really an internal one. Unfortunately, we look to the external to fix the ails and the ills of life. We look to something else and someone else. We look to governments, we look to military, we look to our partners, our friends, our communities. We look outside of ourselves as being the reason why all this duality exists, and there's resolution and the fix to why all this duality exists. When in fact, it's something very different. We need to shift away from this external, seeking someone to come and provide salvation for us. The external, or the second coming, or the new age. I've heard recently that there'll be some kind of external being or force or mothership coming to take away those ascended souls. The chosen few, and the rest can suffer on the planet, and they'll be taken away to some nirvanic place. Or looking to the salvation through a priestly figure on a balcony looking down to the millions below. Or looking at, or believing in some omnipotent, omniscient and omnipresent deity in fear of judgment, who will come and cast wrath upon us if we don't give it ritual and sacrifice and unwavering belief. And just look into the heavens for someone to come and save us. This external, looking to the external and giving our power and sovereignty away constantly on a daily basis is why we experience what we experience. It's our willingness to give away our free will in all of its forms to others, for it to be diminished day by day through the shifting of mind into ideologies, movements, doctrines, intellectual movements. There's so many out there that we could follow. Each and every one will result in a diminished, or rather a removal slowly, incrementally, and ultimately total free will. Free will in all of its force, all of its forms. And our ability to create our own timelines and expand into ourselves, remove, because we're destroying the free will that allows us to do that. The universe itself, we need to touch on something else as well. The universe itself was created, as we've described, it's energy. The universe is manifest and unmanifest energy, or force. It's astral, the astral field, or the forces in the universe, the quanta in the universe, if you like. It's just energy. It's unmanifest energy, allowing all possibility. Source itself created the universe through grace, through the aspects of grace, which are love, unity, forgiveness, gratitude, peace, harmony, connectedness, beauty, joy, all the graceful things that we seek. That is source. It created the universe through thought and intention, which are forces. Forces impose themselves on energy. Energy then manifests a canvas, which is the universe. And within that universe, the natural forces, the karmic force and the karmic forces of creation, preservation and transformation, and free will and consciousness, everything has consciousness, is allowed to create and manifest what we experience today. Everything in this universe was just, with those forces and intention of all possibility, created what exists today. Over linear time as we experience it. And that universe is a blank canvas. On it, forms, astral bodies, planets, stars, life in all of its forms is out there, is created, it comes and goes. As its intention and purpose diminishes or falses, the free will of that which is within it forces its demise. But it's a free will canvas. It's all possibility. And Source itself experiences itself from everything within it, everything it's created, everything it allows, through free will and karma and natural forces. It experiences itself. Everything we do experiences is in the one because we are all in the one. Everything is together. There is no disunity. There is no disconnection. Everything's connected. But if we just look at the universe as a ball, because our minds like to compartmentalize things and segment them, look at the universe as a ball. And that ball is, within it, is energy. That energy represents all possibility. And that within that ball, all life is allowed to be whatever it wishes to be. It's given free will, it's given consciousness, it's given and governed by the laws of karma, cause and effect, creation, transformation and destruction, and allowed to be whatever it wishes to be. It's an experiment. It's like a petri dish with drops of life in it and just observed to see what it becomes. It'll expand, it'll multiply, it'll become all manner of things over time that we just can't expect. That's the universe. Source simply creates something to experience everything, all possibility that can ever be, and experiences itself through it, because we are all Source and fractals of it. What happens within that universe is the free will of every life, animate or inanimate, within that ball, which is the universe, or the multiverse, if you like. So the ultimate ultimate message here is that Source doesn't intervene, because what happens within that ball, which is in the universe, is entirely up to us. If we drop down into the human experience itself, it is entirely up to us. Through free will, we are given the sovereign, divine gift of free will. Through the understanding of universal law and how energy is transmuted and transformed from the great unmanifest out there into physical and non-physical form. That is what we create. Every second, every minute, every hour of every day, we own and are accountable for what happens here. Looking external for something to change that is going to be a futile exercise and going to lead to immense disappointment. We need to move into what's called grace. We can also call that Christ or Krishna consciousness or Tiferet. It's the same thing. Now, the second coming, for example, that so many out there are looking for, is the second coming of Christ, for example. Yeshua was Jesus Christ. Now, you can believe whether it existed or not, it doesn't really matter. I'm not in that camp. I don't believe in the rewrites of Sumerian and Egyptian gods, which many believe Yeshua is. But let's just stay on the platform of yes, Yeshua existed. But what was Yeshua? Yeshua was a divine being of extended expansion, ascended expansion, if you like, a highly psychic being who came into an avatar, into human form, for a single purpose ultimately. And what was that message? It was love. It was unity. It was peace. It was trying to teach us. His message was basically telling us to go back within and understand that we are of grace, and to return to grace and to conduct our lives through the heart and not through the mind. To remove ourselves from our external desires, which in that time, his message needed to be seen in that part of the world. The same Christ consciousness is the same as Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the same thing. Krishna consciousness is the foundation of the Hare Krishna movement. What was Krishna's primary message? It was to live in our Dharma. Dharma simply means to live within our cosmic force, or our purpose, our intention, and to return to the ultimate end. The ultimate end being to return and reconnect with Source from within, which is called enlightenment effectively, which is what Buddha was seeking. Nirvana, which is enlightenment, which is basically a reconnection with Source within, opening the book of truth and awareness that we all seek. Tifra in the tree of life, which is peace, beauty, and grace, is the state in which we exude Christ, Krishna, consciousness, Nirvana, same things. The second coming that people wait for, the second coming of Yeshua, is just not going to happen. It'll disappoint so many by me saying this, and some people may not like me saying that. But it's not going to happen. It's going to be a futile exercise and lead to disappointment. There isn't going to be any New Age doctrine or this belief system that the righteous and the pious will be taken away to some nirvanic place and the rest of us will suffer here on earth. That is also simply illusion and will not happen. It just will not happen. This is a simple canvas that we own everything that's on it. To change what we experience is to change the external. But we need to look internal to change the external. For humanity to save itself, humanity needs to do that. We are responsible for what we create. Remember karma, it's important to remember karma. Karma, again, is energy. By what we do, actions, words, thoughts, and intents in the now, we are projecting forward a timeline of experiences that we will have, and they will all be governed by the forces of karma, of transformation, creation, and destruction. These create events for us. We will live everything we forward imprint. There's nothing can be hidden. We cannot avoid karma of any kind. It's important to live in integrity, grace, truth, and honesty at all times, and exude and move inward, so that then the Krishna Christ consciousness energy, Tifra, exudes from internally and starts governing your external actions, words, thoughts, and intents. And they're driven away from the mind and into the heart and the spirit. The mind is the partner, not the governor. And through that movement, as we discuss on these videos time and time again, the external world will change. Because we will change. Because what we support and allow will change. We'll cease just talking about the awakening and doing something about it. We'll cease continually voting in the corrupt and expecting something different to happen every time. We'll simply just propagate the same. We'll see the truth of our external world and how it's not entirely self-governing. It's not entirely governed by or intended to be there for the benefits of global humanity. The world is not exactly as we see it perceive it to be. And these things will become more and more brutally apparent as you move inward when extended sight starts to emerge. An extended sight is the feeling, the sight of feeling, the feeling body, the third eye, if you like. We move from our lower base chakras up into our heart base chakras, into our crown, into our third eye to guide our lives, rather than moving below and shifting away from those chakras below the solar plexus and the heart. That is the movement. That is movement. When spiritual movement happens, you move upwards. The chakra energies become the same. That's what they really are. So to change what we experience and the duality that we experience, and to change that duality, we have to go inward. Duality itself, and there will be other videos on this, is not a creation of Source. It's a creation of us. We created duality by our actions, words, thoughts and intents over the ages, over the millennia, in the human aspect. But duality exists in the universe because universal life creates universal duality. It's infinite possibility, remember. The universe is infinite possibility. Infinite possibility means anything can be manifest within this universal ball. It doesn't exist, if you like, externally from that universal ball where true grace exists, where we will all return once we've finished this sojourn that we're in right now, and from where we will return into this universe for incarnational life until there is no need or purpose to it for us. And that's ultimately where we need to be going, is to moving there. But duality is infinite possibility. Remember, infinite possibility will create whatever, and anything and everything that we manifest, individually and collectively. We will all experience this. And this is duality. That is how duality was formed. The moment we experience ego, the moment we experienced a feeling of betterment than the other, the moment we evolved intellectualism in mind and a separation from each other of mind and ego, we dropped into further ignorance. That's really what it is. We created the forces and the manifestation of duality. So this canvas is ours to create, on which we paint what we wish to paint. We put whatever colour on our brush we want it to be. Source simply created this canvas for us, and we will make it what we wish it to be. We have to be accountable and responsible for everything that happens to us. And understand that the solution is internal and it isn't external. Looking to the external will only make these timelines more brutal in their duality than they have been in the past. It's a guarantee I will personally make that the timelines that we experience today, unless we are shifting, which is what my message is, to shift into something different, shift into the internal, the dualities that we experience today are going to become more brutal. The free will that we have, that our divine sovereign right that we're born with, that we have eternally, infinitely, within form and out of form, will be diminished. And our abilities to follow our paths, because it is free will that allows your action, independent action, words, thoughts and intents, if they no longer exist. And the impositions of the material, of the, let's call it the matrix that we live in, imposes itself more and more upon us, limiting those freedoms and the sovereign liberty of the individual, erodes your free will. And if your free will is eroded, then the forces of karma and duality have a great imposition upon you. When you can experience life as it's supposed to be experienced, you are supposed to be here to grow and expand. We're supposed to go inward. Once we reach our inward state. Remember, in form, we can never experience what it is to not be in form, because that's infinite. That's in spirit. What our objective is to go within to the heart and join the spirit together, have the mind subordinate, and move into that state of Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Tifra, whatever you wish to call it, nirvanic state, which is grace, which is forming our paths and our external action, words and thoughts through the heart and through the spirit of love, forgiveness, gratitude, peace, contentment, harmony, unity, connectedness, oneness, and appreciation of what you are and the power that you have within. We are all source within our bubble of our own lives, because we're able to create anything that we wish in our own lives ultimately. Source itself is the real I, is the real all that is and all that we are, because everything is within it. Don't look external for a saviour or someone to come and change the ills of humanity, because only humanity can save itself from humanity. This is the brutal truth and the brutal reality of that question. That is the answer to that question as I am going to provide it. It may not suit many, it may not be welcomed by many, but this is the truth. If we continue the way we are, or the way things are going, it's not going to be a pretty place in terms of expression and freedoms, which we're here for. Remember, incarnation is real. There's no discussion or debate here, not on this channel and not from me. We will experience what we are creating now in this life, and we'll come back to it in another. So be mindful what we allow to be created in the now, because tomorrow is another now in which we will experience it. And incarnationally, we'll keep coming back and forth until we change it all. Not all. And along that journey, we move to a state where we are truly in touch with grace within and exuding it in our lives, so that incarnational life no longer becomes a need, and it may just be for fun. So thanks so much for listening to this video. I appreciate your time, and please like and subscribe. It does help. The more subscribers I get, it does help the channel. I do get a lot more views than I have subscribers, that's for sure. So I'd appreciate anyone to subscribe if you feel inclined to do so. And if you do the book also, that is alongside me on this image, that does go into a little bit more depth into the things that we talk about on these videos. Although it's just skimmed, I've crammed a lot into as few pages as possible to make it digestible. But it touches on many things in an order which I think will work for many. And I hope anyone who actually does go out to buy it, and thank you, gets a lot from it, because his intention is to pass on a message, my message, I suppose, to many as possible, and for us to move into our state of grace, into our Christ Krishna consciousness, into Tifra, into nirvanic states, into enlightenment, whatever we wish to describe it, and to regain our power of free will and sovereignty to ourselves. There will not be any external saviour. There will not be. Source does not, and will not intervene into the myopia of humanity, when there's the infinite all possibility of all that is within this massive, ever-expanding universe. Humanity is just an experience, a speck on an infinite sky of life. Why would the unity of all things, the unity of oneness, source itself, intervene into the myopic activities of a singular species? It wouldn't. That's the answer. That is the truth. It wouldn't, and it doesn't, and it never has. There won't be any salvation. If there is something presented to you as salvation or the second coming, because there's never been a first, in fact, it won't be source. It could be something quite different. And I'll leave you with that. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day. Thank you.